Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chandie Speaks podcast. It's your girl Chandie. I'm recording this semi-live, not really. This is a recording that I'm making the day before I upload it. It's Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. I'm still here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. And this podcast will be for tomorrow, Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. It's like 1:45 right now. So I'm recording this kind of late right now. If you're watching the video version, actually I probably won't even upload the video version of this, but I'm recording it again from inside of my bed and breakfast that I work at sometimes. Sometimes I work here. As of late, I've just been soaking up the AC, which I'm very grateful for. So I'm recording this podcast from inside of a house and not my van. I'm still trying to get the levels down because I don't want to be yelling into the microphone because it's not like a soundproof room or anything. But it feels like I'm like hardly whispering. Am I talking up on this thing? I don't know. I'm gonna just go. Just fucking do it. Yeah, it's kind of late in the day. I waited really late to record this. I've been basically chilling all day. Kind of halfway in the mood to do this. Like I don't really have much going on in my life. So this podcast is basically just random shit that I come across on the internet. Sometime between the last recording and this recording, I'll just jot down some notes. And then if it's really interesting by the time I start recording or before I start recording, then I'll do a deep dive on them. But this week, aside from my boring life, there's not really much going on outside of my boring life that I feel like would be worth a whole podcast here. So I'm gonna do my best to make this somewhat entertaining, or not. Thank you for listening. Thanks for coming back. We got through the intro. Okay, a couple things. I know there's some news stories that definitely happened this week, and there's also a couple rabbit holes. Well, I think I'm gonna get into the rabbit hole first. What the hell was it? Okay, I told you guys about last week. I remember speaking, I'm pretty sure it was my last podcast. I was talking about how I was basically sexually assaulted by this guy who I barely knew. I probably shouldn't have been at his house in the first place, but nonetheless, that happened. It was borderline rape, but not at all. There was no penetration. It was just aggressively moving me around sexually. So that was last week. Well, I think what got me into this rabbit hole, because I got into a rabbit hole after that. What the fuck happened? I think, okay, I took a few days off from smoking weed. I'm just keep it real. Sometime last week. It was sometime between the last recording and this recording. I stopped smoking for a few days, mostly because I just couldn't afford it. I'm gonna just keep it real. I just dropped $1,000 on an alternator a couple weeks ago, so I was just basically skimping on my weed. I was like, whatever, I'll just take a little tolerance break. So I had 3 days off, a legitimate 3 days where I didn't smoke anything. And I'm actually going to blame these next occurrences on that, because I noticed that when I don't smoke weed, a few things happen. I don't know if you're a real pothead, but I noticed that when I don't smoke weed, I get hyper focused. One of the things I'm super motivated and super productive. I get hyper focused when I don't smoke weed, even just for 3 days. And then I also, I start dreaming again. And I think that's why I had this weird dream. And they're not just regular dreams. Sometimes I have a dream while I'm stoned out of my mind. But most of the times, my vivid, good dreams that I'm still remembering days, weeks after the fact, I'm super sober. So I think that's where this dream came from. I'm going to try and remember it because I did not write it down. But I remember it sort of it was the beginning of me sort of rabbit holing into some of my notes that I took this week. So the dream was, oh my God, I know dreams are kind of lame to hear if you're not in them, and they're kind of Yeah, it's weird when people tell you their dreams because they never make sense. They only kind of make sense to the person telling the dream. So it's really not even up for interpretation. It's just, I'm just sharing sort of like a background of where my head was. Well, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the mix of that sexual assaulter that I met at the bar and a little bit of my cannabis sobriety. I can't even remember it. All I remember was that I was in a dream and this man who I did not recognize was, oh yeah, now I remember it. Fuck you. I remember the whole fucking dream. I'm going to just give you the clip notes of the dream now because I'm like, I just had to start it. Now I remember it. This is what happened. I was like, now this won't make sense, of course, but just follow me here. I was walking down the street somewhere with a girl who I don't know. I don't know. She was a girl. And then all of a sudden, these two guys, they walk up to us. We're like walking down in the middle of the street. There was this guy, he was probably like my height, like 5'4", and he was with a taller guy. They both were like non-melanated. Maybe the shorter guy probably was maybe Hispanic, but they both had like just average looking hair, average looking face. I think maybe the shorter guy was definitely maybe light brown, like he had darker hair, but he was like white passing. Either fucking way. I don't recognize these people in my dream. It was a shorter guy and a taller guy. And they walked up to me and this girl who I didn't know, who I'm assuming that we're just together. And they asked us for a ride. And I'm, now here in the present, I'm like, we didn't have a car. Where did they get that idea from? It didn't make sense for them to be asking because we were walking. But anyway, they asked us for a ride. And she said, I think what had happened, I don't know what the girl said, but I think I kept walking, and then I see the tall guy is just standing there. The short guy is like talking into his phone or something. And then he like announces out that he's like in love with his girlfriend. He's like, this woman, he was like pointing to his phone. He was like, this woman in here, I love her so much. She's like the best woman that I've ever had. She's the love of my life. I love her so much. Whoever this girl is, who he's talking about, who he was just on the phone with. This is the shorter guy. And so the girl who I was with I was like, oh, that's sweet. We all are like congratulating him, Oh, it's so sweet. But then the girl starts asking him questions about his girlfriend, right? About this woman. And he, starts answering them. And she said something along the lines of, well, that's very beautiful. If it doesn't work out, then here's my number. Right? So I remember in my dream, I think at that point is when I started to sort of piece together that I was dreaming. Like I sort of like piece together that I was dreaming just a little bit. It didn't kick in until a little bit later. Okay, so then he was like, okay, this guy who was just raving about his girlfriend, he passes on his phone number, or he takes this other girl's phone number. I don't know who gave who the number, but they exchange numbers and contact information. And then she decides that, okay, I can give you a ride wherever you need to go. And then all of a sudden she just appears in a car. She's sitting in the car. He's sitting in the car, and she's about to take him somewhere, I think home or wherever. I don't know. And then something goes off in my head where I don't know. I see the tall guy still standing there, just kind of looking there, just not really saying anything. So I asked for the girl's phone number. This is when I knew I was dreaming, because when I asked for her phone number, she was physically holding a phone in her hand. I was like, let me get your phone number so we can keep in touch. She was physically holding a phone in her hand. She says, I don't even know where my phone is. Now, that could have meant anything, like maybe the phone that she's holding is not the phone that she uses, or maybe she didn't want me to give me her number. She was just like blatantly lying to my face. No, it was maybe that, like super subconsciously, but mostly it was because in a dream, unless you're like really trained at lucid dreaming, it's really hard to do certain things in your dreams. Getting phone numbers has always been like a difficulty for me, because I've always tried to get a contact information or a contact number from someone in the dream so that I can remember it and contact them in my waking life, and I've never gotten it. I've never gotten a good phone number in my dream. I've never been able to tell accurate time in my dream. That's like one thing when I used to lucid dream a lot. Used to be able to control my dreams a lot. I would always try and make a point to go and look at a clock in the room or turn on the light switch in a room. And I was never able to do either of those. Sometimes I'd see a clock, but it would never show a time that was even real or that made any sense. And then phone numbers. Phone numbers are a big thing. Even shaking hands with someone. When you dream, go try and shaking hands with somebody or ask for their phone number and like try writing it down. It's hard. That's when I knew I was streaming. I know. Going off a sidetrack there. Okay, so she didn't give me her number because she didn't want me to give me her number. Plus, I guess I was dreaming, but I knew at that point in my dream that I was dreaming. So what did I do? I was like, okay. I look down and I see that my dog is with me. Apparently my dog has been maybe with me the whole time. And my van was parked across the street. So I start going back towards my van, and then the tall guy who I guess couldn't get a ride with his friend and the girl because they were just going to go off and do their own thing, he looks at me and asks me, never said anything to me, by the way. He says, hey, do you know any places around here to eat? And he's holding a smartphone, and I was like, you have a smartphone, right? And he's like, yeah, I do. And then that was the end of that conversation. And then I sort of felt and energetically in my dream that he didn't give a fuck about what places to eat. He just wanted an excuse to talk to me. And maybe that pretty soon my life would be in danger. So I started like power walking back to my van. It's just across the street, but it seems like it was like super far away. Like it was taking me forever to get across the street. I finally get into my car. And by the time I get into my car, he's like running up on my car, right? In my head, my first thought is grab your knife that you keep in your front seat. But then I remembered that I actually don't always keep it in my front seat. When I woke up, I was like, God damn, that was probably one sign to say, hey, you need to always have your knife in your front seat. Because the only thing I have in my front seat right now is a mallet. It's like a 10-pound mallet, and I have to like reach back and get it. But the knife usually sits like shotgun. And I remembered in my dream at that point that my knife was not riding shotgun before I had realized it. So I tried to lock my doors, but by that time he had already gotten up to my door and I had woken up. I know. So that's like the long-winded dream that, yeah, a lot of things came from that. Yeah, so I have some kind of diving I still need to do on that. But yeah, I say just off the bat right now, there's some internalized fear I think I have of the male gender, maybe because of that incident that happened. Like I didn't think I would be any kind of dummy bitch that would be, just thrown around like I had, but it happens even to like the baddest, boldest bitches out there. So I think that was part of that bleeding into my dreams of me being like sort of kind of jaded, kind of like really, I don't know, kind of fearing a little bit for my life, slightly. Like I know I could have had it under control. I don't know. Like if I would have kept dreaming, I don't know how far I would have taken it. Would I have just gone out and stabbed him? I've never stabbed someone in real life, and I've never like used, guns or anything like that. So I don't know, like, what if he had a gun in my dream? What if he stabbed faster than me? I don't know. I've never gotten it to that point. I'm glad I woke up before I figured out if I was going to need to learn how to be that strong bad bitch. But yeah, I think that's really what it came from. That incident with the guy bled into my dreams. And then the girl thing, sidebar, it's like, that's when I first realized it was a dream. I was like, girls usually have, or women, I know typically women don't really like standing together with each other, but like my girls kind of do. And I felt like if you're in my dream and you're appearing in my dream as my friend and you're like choosing a man over me, like my literal life was in danger because my friend left me by myself with him. I don't know. That doesn't really happen to me in real life. Usually when I'm in danger with the guy, I don't really have my female friends around because otherwise they know like we're stronger when we are in numbers and we're weaker when we are going against each other, especially for a man. They like to pin us against each other too. So I thought that was weird in the dream. I was like, oh, this girl, not only is she like leaving me with a stranger, but she's not even going to give me a phone number or her location or anything. Just like, oh, bye, I'm going with this guy. So that was weird. Oh, this is another thing. I've totally forgot this very big detail. I totally forgot to mention that before I fell asleep, keep in mind that this dream happened in the morning because I had gotten off of work. I got off of work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and instead of like using my energy in a productive way, I decided to lay in bed and doom scroll on TikTok and fall asleep to that. So you want to know what I fell asleep to before I had that dream? Yeah, I was going down a crazy rabbit hole of red pill and pink pill content, which I just figured out was a thing. I just discovered this. I know I'm always late to the party. I'm old. I don't really be out in the streets like that. But I just discovered red pill and pink pill content, and I was deep diving on all of that shit. That shit goes deep. I'm going to read a couple articles from what I found, but yeah, I was basically looking into, I think what got me on that was some woman made a post, and I follow, apparently I actually follow pink pill content, some of it, you know. I thought I was pretty balanced, but it turns out that a lot of my content on all of my platforms, I'll just keep it real, is sort of leaning towards like non-male centeredness, or, you know, we don't need a man, or raise your standards, or fuck him. And I mean, from an untrained eye, it would look like it's man bashing content, but I'd like to believe that it's balanced. But yeah, apparently there's like a core, there's a source to all that. Get this. Have you guys heard of femcel? We've all heard of incels, right? I just discovered what a femcel is. And you know what? I'm like, oh my God, having a really hard time accepting that. Am I a fucking femcel? It turns out I'm an unhealed femcel. Can you imagine? Like, I guess I can. It's exactly how it sounds. As much as I want to say that I'm like big, bad, independent, I think a lot of this is coming from just unhealed trauma, bitterness, unforgiveness, you know, resentment. And then the pink pill content was born. I'm going to read all this. You guys are like, duh, where have you been? I don't follow any of this shit. Divergent Despair, a comparative study of incel and femcel subcultures. They're subcultures, which I had no idea about. So I'm going to just read through this. Who knew? I knew. I guess you guys, if you've really been listening just for sheer entertainment, then you're like, this femcel don't even know she's a fucking femcel yet. Okay, well, before I read this, from my understanding, an incel is basically someone who is involuntary celibate, specifically a man who is involuntary celibate, who probably goes out and tries to get women and doesn't succeed, or he doesn't, you know, meet like physical requirements or financial requirements or whatever have you, whatever reason he's not getting to have physical access to women, and it's against his own will. Like, he doesn't want that. He's trying desperately to get access and he's not getting it. And I would assume that the femcel is basically the same fucking thing, but it's, I would like to believe that it's different because the way that women go about getting intimacy is different from the way that men goes about getting intimacy. I would like to believe that it's more emotional for women than physical. I would like to believe, and I'm just going to read over it. I think I did glance over it a little bit, but my understanding from what I did read was that a femcel is usually someone who's looking for like a deeper connection with someone. The same thing that we're looking for regularly. Like, women will fake having sex just so they can get into a relationship, and men will do the opposite. Men will fake a whole ass relationship just so they can have sex. I mean, it sounds like a toxic match made in heaven, you know? Yeah, so I feel like a femcel is someone who's just really craving that connection. The sex would just be a bonus, but she really wants that connection. It's just hard for her to get that connection. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like me. And maybe a little bit of the sexual frustration thing. And I think that's also because of an emotional thing, because I don't know about, I say most women, at least for me, it's hard for me to have a physical or sexual connection with someone if I don't have an emotional connection with them. So anyway, I'm going to read this. It says, while both femcel is a female involuntary celibate, and incel, which is an involuntary celibate man, refer to individuals who feel unable to form romantic or sexual relationships despite desiring them. The two subcultures offer or differ significantly in their ideology, psychological focus, and behavior. So the core identity and demographic for an incel is the term is primarily associated with young men who feel disenfranchised regarding masculinity and loneliness. They often categorize themselves within hierarchies of alpha and beta males, blaming their lack of success on a genocentric society. And then femcels are women who share experiences of romantic and sexual exclusion. Although the term originated within male-dominated incel spaces, the femcel subculture has evolved into its own distinct domain, distancing itself from the misogynistic tendencies of male incels. So yeah, I mean, this is why I believe it's different for men and women. Or maybe I'm just saying it's different for men and women because I'm a woman. I'm trying to be like easy on us. But it feels like when men are incels, that something is physically wrong with them, right? Because I feel like a lot of women, maybe many women would overlook your money and your other successes if you physically looked good. I mean, women are shallow. We're all shallow. We're all visual creatures. So maybe he's not tall enough. Maybe his dick wasn't big enough. Whatever physical feature that you're lacking. And I think that's mostly what makes an incel, because women aren't attracted to that more so than they are attracted to other things like money and shit like that. Or maybe it's flipping. I don't know. Would a woman rather be with a broke dude who looks good or a rich dude who's ugly? I guess it really depends on the woman. Most women are independent and don't really need your money. So I think most women who take care of themselves, they just want a good looking dude who can dick them down. But that's probably just me projecting. But I think with women, it doesn't always, for femcels, it's not always about physical features. Like, because we all know a man will fuck anything. You just got to find the right man. Okay, you might not get the man that you want, but a man will fuck any woman. I will die on that hill. So I don't think it's less about, them being disenfranchised or them like not looking like your typical Instagram models. Because yeah, we got all kinds of women, all shapes and sizes. There will never be a shortage of getting laid for them, but it's a matter of the connection. I don't think there's many men who would connect with every woman. Fucking is a whole different game. Now, connecting with someone, you want to connect with someone you having sex with, I think you're being a little greedy, don't you think? I mean, I'm just saying that's probably what birthed a femcel. Rather they look like a supermodel or the fugly bitch down the street. They can't make a connection with a guy and probably even have sex with him if you're on the other end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Because I don't think I'm ugly. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I know I'm a solid 7. I know I'm a solid 7. Okay. Internalization versus externalization of frustration. So one of the most significant differences is how each group processes their rejection. Interessante. So incels, they have externalized anger. They frequently externalize their frustration, directing anger and hostility towards women and feminism. They often view access to women's bodies as a right and frame their rejection as a societal injustice. Whereas femcels, they have internalized distress. And they tend to internalize their frustration, resulting in profound loneliness, depression, and social inhibition. Their discourse often focuses on lookism, the belief that their value is determined entirely by physical beauty, and they often express a desire for companionship and emotional intimacy rather than just sexual access. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I believe fully in that. Because I know that I'm a solid 7. I mean, I'm like a solid 6.5. I'm like a soft 7. I'm around that range. I don't really put too much on physical beauty for myself, although I do like the man to look good. I know I'm super shallow, but I want to like a man who physically looks good, but I want him to like me for my personality. And thus the 𝗵𝗀𝙥𝙐𝙑 was born. Okay. I'm almost done with this reading, and then I'm going to move on to the next topic. Ideological differences. There's pill philosophy. So incels, they're also known as black pill or red pill incels. They often follow the, quote, black pill philosophies, a nihilistic worldview based on biological essentialism, claiming that sexual market value is genetically determined and that their failure is permanent. Womp womp. 𝗵𝗀𝙥𝙐𝙑, pink pill. 𝗵𝗀𝙥 follow the pink pill philosophies, which focuses on the harsh realities of beauty standards within a patriarchal society. It sounds like it's the same fucking thing. Unlike the deterministic view of many incels, 𝗵𝗀𝙥 may see their condition as fluid, potentially impacted by factors like aging or weight gain. Okay, that's probably the difference. So a man, most likely, when he's born short, he's like, okay, I'm a failure at life. There's no way women are going to like me because I'm just going to be this way. Whereas women, they see it more as fluid, like, hey, I'm pretty now. I'm going through my pretty phase. I'm going through my bum phase. I'm going through my hoe phase. I'm aging. I'm gaining a little bit of weight. I'm going through my mommy phase. But it's all feels like the same thing. Both sides feel like they're not good enough for the other side on some level, at some capacity, and they've just basically made themselves undateable or unfuckable or involuntary celibate or whatever. Risk of radicalization and violence. Incels, the male incel subculture has been linked to violent rhetoric, extremist radicalization, and real-world mass attacks. Example, the 2014 Isla Vista killings and the 2018 Toronto van attack. They may celebrate violent actors as saints. Interesting. And 𝗵𝗀𝙥 may express frustration or ironic misandry. They have not been linked to similar societal threats or mass violence. Their online behavior is more focused on collective emotional processing and creating a shared aesthetic language known as 𝗵𝗪𝗀𝗄𝑟. Oh my God. And then finally, there's mutual hostility. There's significant friction between the two groups. Male incel communities frequently deny the existence of 𝗵𝗀𝙥, arguing that any woman can find a partner if she lowers her standards, a belief they call the judgment law. This rejection has forced 𝗵𝗀𝙥 into separate private online spaces to discuss the specific obstacles they face. I was literally just saying that. I feel like women can find everything, but all they have to do is lower their standards, and that's just kind of bullshit. It's really fucked up that we have to lower our standards in order to experience any kind of partner or connection with the opposite sex. It's never like let's let them raise up their standards and up their bar. And if it is, then like a lot of them are shooting themselves in the foot right when they're kids, when they see all the tall kids get picked, or they're like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm fat, or I'm poor, or I'm dumb. So, like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's kind of fucked on both sides. Did I want to end it on anything other than that? I don't want to end it on a nasty note. Oh, the part where it says that men are... It's basically how they handle rejection. I'll see a post that a woman made, and she's probably spitting bars and dropping knowledge, and you'll have thousands of comments, and then you'll have a few comments trickle in from men who say these words. I don't even know. I didn't write any of them down, but some of them, I don't know. It caught my attention enough, and that's how I got on the red pill stuff, because it's like women control the internet. They just do. Statistically speaking, if you're going to be online, you're a woman. More women are online than men. That's just how it is. So in a way, the internet has become a safe space for women. So when a man is triggered by a post, and they want, I don't know, sometimes they just want to be heard, or sometimes they just want to, I don't know, just troll. They'll go on there and they'll say whatever fucking term or word or slang or some kind of secret language that only other incels know about. And that's what sort of piqued my interest, because I was like, okay, how do you guys even come up with these terms if the internet is mostly women? How do you even get away with creating these terms? Well, they too have their own private online spaces, mostly Reddit. I'm discovering that a lot of them are on Reddit, which I definitely don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I found the ones that are hiding, lurking in the shadows of TikTok and Instagram. They have secret words and secret sayings, and I did screw up my algorithm just for the sake of science for like a couple hours. Screwed up my algorithm a little bit, just keep going into these rabbit holes of these things. And you know what? This may be my woman brain speaking, but they are fucking mean. When men are not around women and they don't think women are watching, they say the worst fucking things about women. They body shame women. They talk down about women. When no woman is around to defend herself, they're talking amongst themselves about how shitty women are, and they're body shaming them, and they're just mean. They're just outright fucking mean. And I'm like, the way that they talk about women when women are not listening or women are not around, it really sounds like they don't really like women at all. That they, not only do they not like women, but they still feel like that the women owe them their bodies and their time and their sex or any kind of attention. And I'm not just saying that because of speculate. Like, I literally went and observed these groups, these spaces, specifically on TikTok and Instagram. And the way that these men talk about these women is absolutely foul. It's mean. It's fucking mean. It did make me second think about how these women are talking to men. And maybe, like I said, it's probably my woman brain talking right now. But I feel like when we talk about men, when we come down on the men, we're not talking down like about their physical appearance so much as we're talking about their content of their character, until they come in and then they start, mansplaining or doing something or being rude, and then we come at them and be like, hey, yeah, that's why you're fucking you got a bald spot and your fucking beard doesn't connect and shit like that. But I don't think women are gonna, like, maybe like I said, maybe I'm just biased. It almost made me cry just reading some of the comments, that the way that these men talk on fucking these places where they don't believe women are watching, and they're all giving each other fucking, it's the same thing on the women's side. It's always like, I'm not, no shade on anybody. This is entertainment after all. The whole world's a stage. But it's the same thing on the women's side when you see these women who have these large followings, large platforms, and obviously they're saying something that a lot of people can resonate with, right? But it's never from a fugly bitch. It's never from a fugly girl. It's always from this drop-dead gorgeous, beautiful woman who literally has no problem attracting anyone, period, ever. Probably never had an ugly day in her life. Maybe she did. I know this one content creator, shout out to her. She used to be a stripper and she's gorgeous. But I'm like, it's never any like bummy looking bitches on here. It's always like the good looking girls telling you to stop focusing on men and do it this way and do it that way. Well, it's the same shit on the incel side too. It's always these pretty fucking boys coming up there looking like genetically just perfect. Like they were just chiseled from gods, but they're giving all these bum beta males advice on how to pick up women. And what do these bum beta males do? And what do these bum femcel women do? They go out and they apply that knowledge and they in the wrong way, or they misinterpret it and then they piss somebody off, or they get fucking teased. And then they just resort back to their old fucking femcel and incel ways. I'm literally guilty of it. That's all I'm saying. Just consider the source. Okay? Just consider the source. Maybe just think for yourself. I don't fucking know. We need to get offline and stop being so... There's literal bullying online still between men and women. And it's like undercover. It's kind of sad. All right. I'm moving on to the next topic. I was going to go live this week while I do the podcast. I'm actually still trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, because no one really joined the live last week and I don't really want to have to bounce back and forth. Maybe I'll try it now. Bounce back and forth between the podcast and the live. All right, I'm not going live. Fuck all that. Okay, I'm just going to read a couple more stories, get into my J. Cole Fall Off Weekly Review, and then I'm going to go. So this past week, I believe this was on, let me find the exact day. Monday. Actually, it happened right before my last podcast, but I didn't get the details on it until afterward. So this was last Monday, I believed. This is a story about, you guys hear about this girl who's 21 years old and she landed a plane on the highway. Yeah, I'm sure it's like super old news, but I'm going to report it because I don't really have even much to say about it, except I think it's pretty badass. Just read over this. Emily Shelton is her name. She's a 21-year-old flight instructor who gained widespread recognition for successfully performing an emergency landing on Interstate 10 in Pensacola, Florida. She was on the I-10/10. At the time of the incident, she had logged approximately 1,300 hours of total flight time. That I did not know. 1,300 hours of flight time? She was ready. I mean, okay, I just want to give props to her for just staying so fucking calm during the whole thing. She like, before I read this, from what I remember from the story, clips online, she was smelling some kind of burning smell in the cabin, in the plane. I don't know. It wasn't like a big plane. It was like a little jumper plane. Not that many passengers, but, and then her engine started failing and she had called in to, I guess, the main station or something, letting them know, like, hey, there's a burning smell. Okay, hey, now my engine is failing. And she was calm, and collected the whole way through. 21 years old, 1,300 hours of flight time. And she's like, hey, I got to land this thing. I'm going to have an emergency landing. Just letting you know, we won't make it to the airport. And my God, this girl landed the plane like it was Grand Theft Auto. Like, she landed the plane oh my God, she landed the plane like she had a fucking built, like she had something to prove. She went under the highway sign, over a semi truck, and landed it on the fucking highway. Landed a whole fucking plane and then pulled it off to the side of the road as to not block traffic. So badass. I just thought it was an incredible story. I want to see more stories like that. Super inspiring. Makes me want to be a pilot. So the incident on I-10 on a Monday morning around 9:55 a.m. Emily Shelton was conducting a training flight with a student who was on his first ever flight lesson. That changed his life for sure. The aircraft, a single-engine Piper PA-28 Cherokee belonging to the Pensacola Air Flight School, had taken off from Pensacola International Airport roughly 30 minutes prior to the emergency. The following sequence of events led to the highway landing. They had mechanical failure. Emily Shelton reported to air traffic control that the plane was losing our engine and that the oil pressure was dropping into the red. In the cockpit condition, she noted a burning oil smell and reported that fumes were filling the cockpit, making it clear they could not return to the airport. Declaring the emergency, realizing the severity of the situation, Shelton informed controllers, "We are not making the airport. We're going down on I-10. Boss status. Fucking baddie. The daring landing, Shelton navigated the disabled plane onto the eastbound lanes of I-10. She even landed it in the direction of the fucking traffic. She landed it on the flow of fucking traffic, under a highway sign, over a semi truck, pulled off to the fucking side. Ooh, God damn. On the eastbound lanes of I-10 in 𝗙𝗵𝘃 County, dash cam footage from a semi-truck driven by Eric Jordan captured the miracle landing, showing the aircraft gliding just feet up beneath an overhead highway sign and landing directly in front of his vehicle. Jordan stated that if he hadn't noticed the plane's shadow and slowed down, the aircraft would have hit his cab. Despite the high speed of traffic and the physical obstacles of the highway, Shelton managed to pull the plane onto the shoulder after touchdown. I'm just going to cry. The emergency landing resulted in no injuries to Shelton, her student, or anyone on the ground, and the aircraft remained largely intact. Shelton credited her composure and success to extensive emergency procedure training, noting she had practiced this exact scenario many times in a simulator but never expected to execute it in real life. Shelton has since been hailed as a hero for her textbook handling of the crisis. She continues to work toward a career as a regional airline pilot. The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, is currently investigating the cause of the engine failure. Bravo, 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 bravo. Hats off to that girl. Oh my God, such an inspiring story. If you needed an inspiring story, because come on, no injuries, no car accidents in the same direction of fucking traffic. And on top of it, she just had a cool, calm, like, demeanor. Like, Whew. Oh my God. Oh my God. I really think that's going to be the end of the podcast. I wanted to briefly touch over this last story. It came across my news feed, but then after further investigation, I discovered that it's an older story. It definitely, I'm not saying that it's not a story that should not be read or shared. However, I don't want to be like the source of any kind of misleading news or fake news. This is not a news story. This actually allegedly happened or reportedly happened in November of 2025. But because I guess one of these content creators thought they were slick and thought they were cute or trying to be funny, they uploaded the video like 9 months after the fact, trying to like laugh at someone else's pain. They were doing something very illegal. And now it's just got a lot of attention. So in case you haven't heard this story, it's a racial story. It's called Justice Delayed is the name of this article. It's a consolidation of all these links that I have about the story itself. And it created, basically I asked the question like, why are we hearing about this now? Yeah, why did it take 9 months for it to be released or something like that? It's because they did close it and no one really even knew about it until it got public. So the sources confirmed that the video of the assault on Audrey Massaric was indeed released approximately 9 months after the incident occurred, but they provide a different explanation for this delay than the one suggested in my query. Yeah, I asked him like, why did it take so long? Was it the government trying to manipulate us? Because from outside looking in, it's looking like, okay, why is this story all of a sudden getting big headlines right now? And it's racial. It's a racial fueled assault. Okay. If you haven't heard about it right now, it became news to me like a few days ago from a friend who it became news to her a few days before that. But it's in fact 9 months old. So why is it coming out now? And from the outside looking in, it looks like they're trying to start some kind of division, race war, your typical, let's separate and divide these people. Because it was a woman who was like in high school, I don't know, a child. She was a child and she got lured into this bedroom with these other children. They're all women, and like three of the women started like gaining up on this one girl. Okay, just saying that story like that sounds like a bad story. 3 girls were beating up one girl. Oh, and it turns out she was pregnant and drunk, or either she was pregnant or drunk or both. I forget. She was really fucked up and she was getting beat up by these 3 girls. Now, it makes it even worse because the girl who was getting beat up and who was drunk was melanated or African American, black, and the girls who were beating her up were not black. They were all absolutely the opposite of black, and it looked like a hate crime from the outside looking in, but I just didn't appreciate the timing of it because it's 9 months old. But I'm going to read to you why the timing is the way it is. No, it's not because the media is trying to manipulate us into race wars. So the assault took place on November 2025. The viral video, the footage did not become widely public until August 2026 when it was posted online with the caption Trailer Park Chronicles. So I guess the girl who posted it was trying to basically make fun of the people getting beat up, thinking it was like dead, 9 months old, who cares? I forgot I had this video. We beat up black girls all the time type shit. And she uploaded the video with the funny caption, and it didn't go over so well. The victim's memory loss. Audrey Massaric stated that she did not initially pursue charges because she was, quote, blackout drunk during the attack and could not remember the details of the night. She expressed that she was embarrassed and ashamed by the situation, and there was a lack of proof. She explained that it would have been difficult to get her attackers in trouble without a clear memory or evidence. She noted that the video servicing provided the proof that I needed to finally hold them accountable. So yeah, not only did these girls, these white women, white young ladies, beat up this girl 3-on-1 super unfairly while she was intoxicated, but they videotaped it. They videotaped it and saved it in the vault, and it must have either not been that big a fucking deal. The way that they were laughing at this little girl really kind of hurt my heart, really fucking hurt my heart. The way they were laughing at her while they were beating her up, lets me know that they do shit like this all the time, especially if you just had that video just laying around for 9 months and you thought it would be cool to just upload it. Shame on them and shame on their fucking parents. Shame on them. It doesn't matter about the race. It's just, that's a terrible fucking thing to do. 3-on-1, grow, oh my God. So the lack of proof. So once they uploaded the video, she was finally able to hold them accountable, and that was 9 months after the fact. So the origin of the Trailer Park Chronicles, the phrase was not a media headline, but a social media caption used by the individual who originally posted the video. And they gave her Instagram handle, which I'm not going to read because fuck her. Glorifying violence, dehumanization, and as entertainment. One source notes that the original poster used this caption to treat the violent attack as if it were a comedy sketch or entertainment. Shame on that bitch. Public outrage. The public reaction to this caption and the fact that many commenters were laughing at Audrey's pain contributed heavily to the national outrage once internet sleuths began identifying the attackers. The role of the media versus social media. The sources do not support the claim that the media timed the release to manipulate the public. Instead, they indicate that news organizations reported on the story only after it went viral on platforms like Facebook and X. So they reopened a closed case. The St. John's Police Department had previously closed the case without charges, citing a lack of, quote, foul play because Audrey was intoxicated. And public pressure, it was the viral spread of the video and the subsequent Facebook detectives that made the case too loud for authorities to ignore, leading the police to reopen the investigation on August 6, 2026. According to the sources, the 9-month gap was the result of the victim's initial trauma and memory loss, while the release of the video itself was an act of social media user treating the event as content, which then backfired and led to a legal investigation. So, yeah, that was that story. Golly. I believe that's all. There was something else that was passed today, I believe, that I really don't want to dive into right now, but I could. Let me see. I'm so tired of talking, and this is all heavy stuff. All this stuff is heavy. It's just really heavy right now. I definitely need to go and cleanse myself after all this, but this was just the only reason why I'm reporting on this right now is because hardly even call it reporting, by the way. I'm just giving my own 2 cents about some news that I came across literally today, but this was passed on the 10th. So yesterday, this was passed yesterday, and I just learned about it today. Turns out you can get abortions up until birth in Massachusetts, thanks to this new law that passed. Did you guys hear about that? I hardly want to get into this right now, but I feel like I don't want to wait for it to be next week's story. It's just gonna get worse. So I'm gonna read over this little thing, probably give my 2 cents, and then I promise that'll be the end of these heavy topics. We'll move on to the music segment, or that'll be the end of the podcast if you're not into hip hop. But Massachusetts reproductive rights. Isn't that crazy that they're calling it reproductive rights? I can't possibly read this without a little smidgen of sarcasm in my tone, because you know how I feel. I'm anti-abortion, pro-life. I don't know what the fuck is going. I don't even feel like reading this. I don't know what the fuck they're doing over there on the East Coast. But I feel like I shouldn't really be surprised that Massachusetts would be one of the states, if the only state. I'm not sure. I didn't bother to look up how many other states follow this. But it would be Massachusetts to start with, because they're fucking weird over there. I'm sorry. At one point in my life, I thought, being from Boston or Massachusetts was like cool. But as more and more, like, politically, y'all are just swinging just way over the fucking fence. I don't know what's going on. Like, are you liberal? Are you conservative? Like, what the fuck's going on? They're on the East Coast. Weren't they one of the first ones to legalize gay marriage? Nothing wrong with the gay marriage, but I'm saying it had to start somewhere, right? Now they're murdering babies that are fully grown in the womb. 9 months. Anyway, it says Massachusetts has recently passed 2 significant pieces of legislation to expand and protect reproductive health care. The Prioritizing Patient Access to Care Act, signed August 10th, 2026, and the Shield Law 2.0, signed August 7th, 2025. I'm so incredibly triggered by this. I just believe it's wrong. I'm not going to sit on the soapbox and tell you guys why I believe it's wrong, because it should just be inherently, you should just know it's just wrong. It's wrong to murder babies in or out of the womb. I've already bitched about this before. And what's really sad is that like that the amount of supporters that are who are trying to call it healthcare, because it's not healthcare. According to this law, they're saying that they'll give an abortion up until birth only if it's medically necessary, right? But hold on, wait a minute. Didn't you guys already tell us that when you first started rolling out this whole abortion thing back in the fucking 1970s, when the fuck you guys started legalizing abortion everywhere? You're like, oh, well, only if it's medically necessary. And now 1,200 monthly abortions later, y'all are just saying it's medically. I'm just saying, how many medical emergencies do we have? You know what? Oh my God, this really pisses me off. Really pisses me off. If it's one thing I can't stand is a woman abusing her right to choose, really. And I think that's all I really want to say on it. But yeah, that's just the big news. I can't get into it because I can already feel my heart boiling. My heart goes out to all the murdered fetuses in Massachusetts. Okay. All right. And if you're not a hip hop fan, this is the end of the podcast. We are now going to go into the J. Cole Fall Off Weekly Review. Yeah, I definitely did not want to go into that abortion topic too much, but it's news today, and maybe this is the first place you heard it. Maybe go do some more research. I don't know. I'm very much against that shit. Remind me to never go to Massachusetts. If you want your babies to die, go to Massachusetts. So, Role Model by J. Cole. I'm just going to go on. Role Model. No Role Models by J. Cole actually officially hit 3 billion streams on Spotify this past week. That's probably the biggest J. Cole related news that I have right now. I'm like a month away from going to see him live. I'm super excited. I'm still listening to The Fall Off. It's been over 150 days. I've not listened to much of anything else except The Fall Off since it was released. I'm just so in love with this album. I'm in love with the rollout, the tour, the whole shebang. Shout out to all the people who upload content from his shows and keeping me in the know. I'm like every day reciting my fucking 39 intro. I know it all by heart, but I know that I be damned if I waste an opportunity. Like, I need to lock the fuck in. If I make eye contact with this nigga, 𝙥𝙗𝙣, if I make eye contact with 𝙥𝙗𝙣, I'm going bar for fucking bar. I don't care what song he's singing, okay? I need to lock the fuck in. I'd be damned if I waste that opportunity. But let me get into my stats for the week. I'm already over this podcast. So we're going to read the stats from, today's the 11th. We are going to read the stats from August 3rd through August 9th. So August 3rd through August 9th, Spotify says that I listened to 62 artists this week. Can you guys guess the top 5? Ain't nothing new. Number 1, we got J. Cole. J. Cole, 𝙥𝙗𝙘. Number 1, J. Cole. Number 2, we have Aubrey Graham at number 2. Boss at number 3, Dreamville at number 4, and Future at number 5. That was my top 5 artists listened to between August 3rd and August 9th. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Chandie Speaks, go follow me. And like, share, subscribe. Thanks for listening. Now my top songs for the week of August 3rd through August 9th. They are all from The Fall Off. You guys can probably guess. They're all from The Fall Off. The number 1 most listened to song between August 3rd and August 9th is Safety with 45 plays, which I could have sworn it was Bombs in the Ville this week. Actually, Bombs in the Ville is not on my top 5 this week. Interesante. Well, I've been trying to learn or just master Safety and 39 intro for sure, because I really want to get these bars down for the fucking show. I be damn. So, I mean, I have them in my head, but I need to have them like in my dreams. I need to be like spitting these words like at any point in time. So yeah, Safety is number 1 at 45 plays, and 39 intro, of course, is number 2 with 25 plays this past week. The Let Out is at number 3 with 20 plays. Will we survive the lit out? Will we survive? I cannot wait to hear that shit live. You don't understand. Drum and bass at number 4 with 10 plays, and Who the Fuck Is You coming in at number 5 with 9 plays. That is the Fall Off Weekly Review. I'll see you guys next week.